All right, if you're watching this video right here, I'm going to be going over this packet. This is for Math 1B Semester 2. I call my class a statistics-based class, and it's Chapter 3. I'm going to do my best to go over this as quickly as possible. And so this whole chapter is about percentages. And there are some of the, and percentages allows us to measure stuff, and it gives us a good idea of what's the piece that we're working with. The bigger the percentage, the bigger the piece. It's based off of 100 increments. So usually I tell my students to think about percents like pennies. There's 100 pennies in a dollar. And some of the areas that we're covering are discounts, taxes, time, health, and I think, let me see, what's the other one? I think that's it. Oh, and money, of course. Money is super important. And I think you guys will be very thankful that you guys have learned everything that's in this packet. So let's go ahead and jump right to it. Percentages, again, like I said, is the name of the packet. We're going to talk about discounts and taxes. Make sure that you put your name and then the period, the score. I will give you guys the score, but just know that every section does have the amount of points. So this whole page is worth 10 points. In class, I did all of these for you, maybe except like 3, which you guys had a chance to do, and then I still went over the answers either way. So we're gonna try to do it just kind of like how we did it in class. So when we calculate percentages, you have to remember that a percent is basically also like a decimal. And so if we want to calculate what's 40% of 40, what's 20% of $40, then well, we know that 20% is the same thing as just moving the decimal place over twice. So this is the same thing as saying 0.2 or 0.20. Okay, if it makes it easier for you to know that this is the same, that's, you can add the 0, but you don't have to write the 0. You can just, it's just 0.2. And what we do is we're going to multiply $40 times 0.2. And you might need a calculator. So let's see, I know I got a calculator somewhere around here. So you just turn it on and type in 40 times 0.2. That should give you 8. And so $8 is how much you would be saving if these shoes were 20%. Now, another thing that I tell my students, if you don't have a calculator, not to worry. 10%, I've been teaching you guys pretty much all quarter, is very easy to calculate. All you have to do for 10%, let's just say if I want 10% of 40, I just cover up the last number. So in this case, if I cover up the 0, I get 4. So 4 is equal to 10%. And so if I want 20%, I just double it. So what's double of 4? $8. So that's another way of doing it. So if the shoes are $8 off, then this is really going to be 40 minus 8, which is equal to $32. And that's how much you would be paying. But one of the other things that I want you guys to understand is that there's still taxes. So you still have to pay taxes. And one of the things about paying taxes is that even if you get something off like a discount, the taxes are going to reflect off the full price. And that's something that I learned. I wouldn't say that you should quote me on this, but I would tell you that that's the way that we did it when I used to work at the bookstore, and that's what I learned. So I'm like, okay, well, you're still going to pay the taxes on the full item. So anyways, how do we calculate the taxes for this? So again, you're going to move the decimal place over twice. So 1, 2 to the left. So 8.5. I'm just going to put like a couple zeros to the left because it's going to go to the left. I'm going to move it 1, 2. So this is really equal to 8.5% is equal to 0.085. So in my calculator, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do $40 times 0.085. So I'm going to get my calculator. Let's clear that out. 40 times 0.085 equals $3.40. Okay? So I still have to pay $3.40 in taxes. So that's just something for you guys to consider. So in reality, like I would have to add 3.4. So even after the discount, I'm really gonna pay $35.40. So this is this is with tax. All right, now let's go on to the car. I know we could talk about the book, but I want to talk about the car. And so one of the things that you guys need to consider is that taxes aren't always the same everywhere. So this says 10. This has a tax of 10%. Now 10% is very easy to calculate. We just cover up the last digit, like how we did over here. We just cover up the 0. So in this case, it's a 0. So 10% is easy to calculate. 10% equals $3,500. So that's a lot of money. So even though you are gonna buy a car and you think like, oh, okay, the car's $35,000. Well, remember, there's still taxes that you're gonna pay on the car. And there's actually other fees too, like the DMV fee, and there might be a couple other things. So it might stack up. You might think like you're only paying $35,000, but you might end up paying like $40,000, an extra $5,000 that you weren't expecting. So that's something for you guys to consider. So anyways, that's how much we get in taxes. But if the car is 5% off, you can, again, just move the decimal place over twice. And so you're going to multiply 35,000 times 0.05. I already know this number in my head. It's 1,750. It's just, so that's how much you're going to save. Okay, so you'd be saving $1,750, which is nice. You can get your calculator if you don't trust me. You know, just get your calculator, multiply 35,000 times 0.05. And so you get 1,750. Now be careful. Some of you guys are going to multiply times 0.5. 0.5 is 50. This is not 50% off, okay? This is only 5% off. So if you were to do times 0.5, you're going to get, you're going to say, oh, look, I'm saving $17,500, but you're not. You're only saving $1,750, okay? What's the price of this car? Well, if you add that and subtract that, it's still going to be $36,750. And keep in mind, it's actually going to probably be more because there's like DMV fees and all that good stuff. Let's keep going down. Let's do the jeans. So I'm just going to do it like how we did it in class. So we just kind of went around like in a circle. So jeans, 9%. Okay, like I said, everywhere you go, taxes are different. They vary from city to city. I heard that a lot of people like to go buy their cars at Thousand Oaks because apparently, I think this is what I heard, that Thousand Oaks has a lower sales tax. So people would rather go buy it at Thousand Oaks. Even 1% would make a difference. Like, think about it. If you buy a $100,000 car and you're saving 1% on $100,000, that's still $1,000. So $1,000 is still $1,000. But going back to this example, so if the jeans have a 9% sales tax, this is very easy to calculate when it's a simple 100, you know, anything with 100 or even 10 or 1,000, any increments of like 1 0 0 zeros, it's easy to calculate the percent. In this case, since it's a simple 100, and remember percents are off of 100, 9% equals $9. So you're gonna pay $9 of sales tax on these jeans over here, okay? So you still gotta add that. Now, but the jeans are 20% off, okay? So again, very easy to calculate. So then what's 20% of 100? That's just $20. So you're saving $20, but then you still have to add $9. So 100 minus 20 is 80, but then you gotta add the tax. So So you're gonna pay $89. And this is with tax, okay? Now, speaking of taxes, I want you guys to know that food products that are ready to eat don't have a sales tax. Now, I think you still pay taxes on, like, say, chips and stuff like that that's processed, but bananas, which are just ready to eat, you're not gonna pay any tax. So that's good for you to know. A bundle of bananas that are buy one, get one free, how much are they off? So if you buy one, get one free, that's really like you're getting two, okay? But you're only paying for one. This is what we consider 50% off, okay? Now, I think anything that's 50% off and greater is a good deal. That's just my opinion. I did tell my students to do the last 3 examples on their own. So I would want you to go ahead and give it a shot. But if you're having trouble, like what to do, just remember 5%. If you want to calculate 5% of 500, you just do 500 times 0.05. And that'll give you 5%. 15% off would be 500 times 0.15. So 0.15 is 15%, 0.05 is 5%. Remember, think about pennies. 5% is 0.05, 15 pennies is 0.15. We're gonna do the same thing with the shirt. So the shirt, 50 times 8.5 pennies is 0.085. So you gotta multiply that. And a shirt that's 50% off, you just cut it in half. This is just half. And again, if you need help, let me know. You need to give me the answer. So you need to tell me how much this shirt costs after the 50% off plus the tax. Same thing for the TV. After the 15% off and add the tax, what's the total? So we did that in class, so you need to do it too. And the same thing for the book. So this one is times 0.4. You can add the 0 so it makes it look like it's a 40, but it's really just a 0.4. Okay, it's the same thing. And then this one is times 0.06. Hopefully this helps you guys out. Now we're still on the taxes and discounts, but if you guys can flip the page over, we're gonna talk a bit about how taxes work in California and here in the United States and just in general, because I don't think a lot of people know this. I've had a friend and I've actually had a lot of people ask me like, hey Bobby, can you explain like what taxes are like? Because I'm gonna be earning more money next month and I feel like I'm going up a bracket. Am I really gonna have to spend that much more money? Look, the honest truth is the people that earn a lot of money here in the United States, they do pay a lot in taxes, okay? And that's why sometimes, like the people that earn a lot of money, that have worked really, really hard to earn that amount of money, like say $500,000 or $1 million every year, they feel like it's unfair, like that they just pay too much in taxes. And I can definitely feel for them. But it's a good thing that we pay taxes because it allows for us to pay for schooling, our roads, police officers, firefighters, the military. Here in the United States, we're very protected. You know, there's a bunch of wars going on in the world right now, and we don't feel like we're in a threat. So that's something to be thankful about. Even though I don't believe in war and I don't agree with war and fighting, that's just my own personal opinion. I think that there's other ways of creating world peace without having to like have military force. But that's besides the point. All I'm saying is taxes are good for our country. They're good for you. If you compare what our roads look like to those like in Mexico, big difference, like night and day. And so we're paying a ton of taxes every single year. The United States and California and the cities and all these municipalities are collecting money to operate. And so me working at the city, I can be thankful that people are buying and shopping here in our city and that we do have residents that pay property taxes because those property taxes help contribute to running everything that keeps us happy. So let's go into this because I want to explain a couple things. So these are the actual tax brackets for 2023, and this is for the federal government. Should have labeled it, and then this one's for California. Okay. I guess I did label this one. For the federal, I added all the brackets that they have. So they have, or the columns they have for if you're filing single, like it's just you at your house and it's just you. But if you're married, you count as two people. So one of the things that you'll notice is that these numbers basically double. And if you're married but you're filing separate, then they just counts you just as a single. And if you're the head of the household, I believe with the marriage, don't quote me on this, it just changes a little bit. So I don't know if it benefits people to file in this one and that one if they're married, or if it's just better to file here. But either way, I'm not going to be looking at these. We're only going to look at single file for now, at least in my case. And we're going to do the same thing over here for California. So let me explain something. Just because you earn a certain amount and in that amount you fall into a certain tax bracket, it doesn't mean that that's how much you're going to pay for all your money. Let me explain. So if, let's just say I earn $100,000, okay, me, myself. Well, that doesn't mean that I fall under the $100,000 tax bracket. So let's take a look over here. So where do you see $100,000? $100,000 lies somewhere in here, okay? It's more than 95,000. So does that mean that I'm gonna pay 24% on the $100,000? The answer is no. You're not gonna pay 24% on all the money you make. You're only gonna pay 24% for the money between that category. So let's go back to the paper. So you're gonna pay 24%. If you only earn $100,000, you're only gonna pay 24% for every dollar over 95,376. Okay, up until 182,000. Okay, all the amount less, okay, is actually gonna be taxed at that amount. So let's take a look at this. So your first $11,000 are gonna get taxed at 10%. Now 10% is very easy to calculate. You just get rid of the last zero. So it's just $1,100. So if you only made $11,000, you still have to pay $1,100. That's 10%. That's the least amount of all of these, all right? So you still might get mad and say, like, why do I have to pay this amount of money, like taxes? I just told you because this provides services for you and your family and all your neighbors. Now, every dollar after this, like you already paid this, okay? So you've paid it. Now the next amount, remember we earned 100,000, so the next amount between 11,000 to 44,000, I'm gonna pay at 12%. So I need to calculate how much money is that. So I'm gonna get my calculator, 44,725 minus 11,000. I'm just gonna put 11,000. That's 33,000. So the next $33,000 that I earn, okay, I'm gonna get taxed at 12%. So this is times 0.12. So you're gonna pay a total of $4,047. Next, the next one jumps up to 22%. So that's like that plus that, literally 10 plus 12. So what is 95,375? And you might say, Mr. Martinez, why are you subtracting these numbers? Because I want to know how much money is actually getting taxed, like at 22%. So minus 44,7, and I think it's actually 725, not 26. So 50 grand. Okay, 50,650. So the first amount was 11,000. The next amount was like 30,000. This next amount is 50,000. So because remember it keeps growing like in piles. Okay. this 50,000 is going to be taxed at 22%. So I'm going to do times 0.22, and that's $11,000. Wow, so that's a good amount. So $11,143. So far, I've been taxed this amount, okay? Now, I only said that I'm earning 100 grand, so I'm gonna subtract 100 grand minus 95,000. So I'm gonna do 100 grand. That's not 100 grand. That's 100 grand minus 95,375. It's not a lot. It's $4,000. So only $4,600 and $25. $4,625 is gonna be taxed at 24%. So I'm gonna do times 0.24 because this is 24%, 24 cents equals. So I'm gonna pay an extra $1,110. Okay. Now what we did in class is we added these up, and so you add up 1,110 plus 11,143 plus 4,047 plus 1,100. So we really paid the federal government $17,400 in taxes. Again, you might think like, "What, Mr. Martinez, this is a lot," but just wait, just wait. There's a couple things, okay? Because we still have to calculate how much we're gonna pay California, like the state. The good thing is that when you do your taxes, there's deductions. So even if you earned $100,000 and you paid, say, the $17,400, and then you also paid California, because there's deductions, it brings down the amount that you were supposed to get taxed on. And as long as you have claimed less dependents than you actually have, you should, okay, with all the deductions, theoretically, get some money back, all right? Now, if you do the opposite, like let's just say you have 0 kids and you tell your job, "Oh, I have 8 kids." So your job is gonna be like, "Oh man, let's give them as much money as possible because he's got 8 kids and he basically needs that amount of money to survive, or he needs more money to survive than somebody that doesn't have any kids." And basically, when you apply for a job, they're gonna ask you like how many dependents. There's gonna be a ton of questions, okay? But basically, when you start getting your checks, you automatically get your taxes taken out. So you get the taxes taken out of your check, and you don't have to worry about paying taxes. Like your employer does it for you. But at the end of the year, and taxes are due April 15th every year. You can also get an extension. So don't worry if like, "Oh my God, taxes are due tomorrow." Like you can always get an extension. But what I'm saying is, if you overpaid the amount of taxes, which most people that I know do, you're gonna get some money back. But if you underpay, you're gonna have to pay the government back. So I have an uncle that, for whatever reason, he thinks it's better. It's an opinion. It doesn't really matter. He puts down that he has 8 dependents, which he doesn't. He does not have 8 dependents, okay? So his employer gives him more money every single paycheck. And then when he does his taxes, he pays the government, because guess what? When you do taxes, then they ask you, "Well, how many dependents do you really have?" And he's like, "Well, I got 0. He's like, "Well, you told us 8. So we actually didn't take away as much money. So now you owe us money," if that makes sense. It doesn't matter, it doesn't technically matter. When you do taxes, it's an adjustment to see exactly how much money you paid and how much you were supposed to pay. And so it's an adjustment. It's kind of weird. Look, if you ask me, I would just tell everybody, like, everybody's paying 6% in taxes. It doesn't matter, no deductions, no nothing. Keep it plain and simple. Just that would make my life easier, instead of having like to do all these brackets and like, oh, you pay this amount for this amount for this amount for this amount for this. It's an idea. Now, I still want you guys to go on over here and calculate how much you're gonna pay for $100,000. So $100,000 falls in this category. And notice that the tax brackets for California are actually less. So we pay a lot of taxes for the federal. And so California starts off really small. Like, look, even 1%, you only pay 1% for the first 10 grand. So if you were to calculate again for $100,000, the first $10,412, you're only gonna pay 1%. That means you gotta cover the last two numbers. You'll cover the 2 and the 1. So you're only gonna pay $104 and technically 12 cents. Okay? So then the next one, we're gonna be charged 2% and 4%. So subtract this number with that number and then multiply times 0.02. Subtract this number with that number and then multiply times 0.04. Subtract this number with that number and multiply times 0.06. Subtract this number with that number and then multiply times 0.08. And then we're only going to go up to 100 grand, so subtract 100 grand minus that, and then multiply times 0.093 in this case. All right? And then add up all these numbers, and then you're going to be like, oh my God, I paid that much in taxes, and I paid this much in taxes, and you're going to be like, gosh, like I've been paying so much money in taxes. Like, yeah, that's something that I think a lot of young people don't understand. And here's what's crazy. If you earn, like, let's just say, what does this max out? $1 million. Let's just go to $1 million because I see right here that the highest number is 694,000. So if you make more than 698,000, you're gonna pay the max amount, 12.3%. Okay, on everything that you make over this. Okay. And obviously 698,000 is more than 578,000. So you're also going to pay 37%. So what's 37% plus 12%? That's 48.3%. That's half of your money. So half of the money that you make, half of the money that you, earn over this amount is going just for taxes. And that's why the rich people get upset, because it's like, dude, like I worked really hard to get to this level. Most people, not all people. Some people were just given, the the family business or whatever. But if you had to start this on your own and you're like, okay, I finally earned $1 million, or let's just say you earned $2 million. You didn't earn $2 million. You're basically going to pay half of that amount of the 2 million. So you really only earned 1 million. And it's so that's what hurts. Okay. Just something for you guys to think about. I think nonetheless, the government's going to continue to keep improving. Okay. And that's day one. Okay. This is a long section for day one, but let's go on to part two. Now, taxes are fun. But I think one of the most important things is time. Time is something that is kind of hard to measure. It's funny how when you're having fun, time flies by. When you're not having fun, time slows down. When the astronauts go into space, since they're technically going faster, their clocks slow down. So when they come back from Earth, their clocks are actually a little bit off. So time is weird. Like it's this weird thing to measure, but we don't know how much time we have left here on Earth. So I always tell my students, like, you have to measure your time and you have to make the best out of what you got. So what we did in this activity right here is we calculated how much time in minutes, everything's in minutes, how much time do you spend sleeping? So I told my students I slept 8 hours. So that's 480 minutes. Why? Because it's times 60. So it's 60 times 8. That's 480. I also work about 8 hours a day. I'm working right now if you think of it like that. So I'm working right now even though there's no students. So 480. School, I technically am not a student, okay? And this does include the fun and hanging out part with your friends, everything, like the moment you get to school, the moment you leave. So I'm just gonna put an X because I don't go to school right now. TV or your alone time, I'm gonna say 60 minutes for me, 60 minutes on my phone. I spend about maybe 60 minutes eating, and so I'm putting easy numbers, but I want you guys to do your best to try to be specific. Bathing, let's just say, and using the restroom and all that stuff, let's just say I don't think I spent that much time, so 45 minutes. Time with my family, I would say that's about like 30 minutes. Exercising, I think I spent probably like 40 minutes. Chores every day, at least 30. I might even be going a little low. And then reading, I would say is 30. And then friends, I don't think damn, this is kind of sad. I don't think I spend a lot of time with my friends. But let's just say I do at least like 15 minutes, okay? I do spend like some time with my friends, but it's not every single day. So I'm just gonna add 15. So once you have all your minutes, you're gonna go ahead and add them up. It should be somewhere around 1,440 because that's how many minutes there are in a day. I don't know what mine's gonna say, but let's see. If I type in 480, oh snap, hold on. 480 plus 480 plus 60 plus 60 plus 60 plus 45 plus 30 plus 40 plus 30 plus 30 plus 15, I get 1,330. So there's some missing time that I'm not accounting for. It could be like traveling, being in the car. I don't know. Maybe I just miscalculated. Maybe I spend more time working. All right. I think that's probably what it is. Like I think I probably spend like 9 hours working, maybe doing a little bit more chores. So you can reevaluate this, but you should get as close as possible to 1,440 or as close as you could. But regardless, you have to go off of this number. This is the number you want to go off of. And what do I mean by that? You're going to divide every single one of these numbers by your total. So I'm going to type 480 divided by 1,330. It's going to give me a number. In this case, it gave me 36. Now, if you don't know how to calculate this into a percent, you just multiply times 10. Times 100. But you should know that we just moved the decimal place over twice. So this is, if I cover all the other numbers, this is 36. Okay? So this is 36%. This is 36%. Why? Because they're the same numbers. This one's 0%. Television. Let's see how much time I spent on TV. So 60 divided by the total, 1,330. That gives me, well, again, if you're having difficulties, you're just moving the decimal place over twice. So it's 4.5. And then this one's 4.5. This one's 4.5. Why? Because I said 60 minutes for all three. This one's 45, so I got to do 45 divided by 1,330. That gives me 0.33. Oh, that's a little hard, but all right, let's do it anyway. So 3.3. 30 minutes, 30 divided by 1,330 gives me 0.22, or excuse me, 2.2. And maybe I should have picked some easier numbers, but you guys are gonna have to estimate. Oh, this one's nice. This one's easy. This is just gonna be just 3, okay? I know there's a 0 next to it, so that's perfect. It's just 3. Whew. Okay, so exercising 3%. Chores, I already know that it's 2.2. Reading is 2.2. And friends, it's probably gonna be like 1%, so 15 divided by, gives me 1.1. So double check, all of these should add up to 100. And then what you guys are gonna do is, I gave you all some color pencils. I have some markers, so you're gonna get a bunch of markers out. Or at least I'm gonna get markers out. And I don't think I'm gonna color all of it. I'm just gonna do like a couple of these. I already did it in class, but really you should just pick some colors that you like. Just trying to switch it up. So what you're gonna do, and I know you guys might laugh, but I have mine labeled because I'm colorblind, so I don't know what the colors are. So hopefully that helps me out. So what I'm gonna do is this. I'm gonna use this light blue, and I'm gonna color this in here for sleeping. So that's gonna be for sleeping. This color is gonna be for, actually let's use a different one for working. Let's use some bright green. And I'm only gonna do like 3 of these because, let's do TV. Because I think you'll get the point. So once you filled out all your colors, you're gonna turn it around. And you were supposed to use color pencils, but I'm at home and I didn't have the color pencils I was looking for, so I used my marker, so ignore this right here. But what you're gonna do is, you're gonna get the color, and I'm gonna use light blue. Light blue was for sleeping, and sleeping was 36%. So I have to color 36 of these, so I have to do, so I'm gonna draw a line right down the middle. And this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 1, 2, 3, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36. So I'm gonna color all the way up to here. And that's gonna show me that this is how much time of my day I spend. I think the first one was what, sleeping? So yeah, so I'm not gonna go ahead and do this like for all of them. I would want to. I did it in class already twice because I'm teaching this class twice this quarter. And to do it another time, I don't know. It just takes a while because you gotta count. You gotta make sure that you use the right colors. The only other thing that I told my students to do is to label. And so this one, we're gonna go ahead and say this is sleeping. Okay, and so you're gonna color the entire wheel. There are exactly 100 of these little slices, and so as long as you did the math correctly, you should not have any slices left over, and you should also not need any more slices. We might have a little bit of difficulty because some of ours was like, I think, what was it, like 2.2 and 4.5. The 4.5s are not that bad, okay? That just like, I have 2 4.5s, so 4.5 plus 4.5 is 9, so I just gotta make sure that I get 9 of these slices and I cut it right down the middle. But the 2.2s might be a little tricky, so it's like 2 and then just like a little bit more. So that's that. Make sure you guys answer the question on the bottom where it says, what would you do differently for it to be a perfect day for you? It's only 2 points, but if you write more, I'm only counting like 1 point, 2 points, 3 points, 4 points, 5 points. So if you write more, I'll give you guys extra credit. Okay? All right, you might notice that I don't look exactly like how I did just earlier. And it's actually because the video was getting too long and I had a meeting to get to, and so I just took off, and today's actually the next day, so my hair looks different and I couldn't get it to go back, so I just spiked it up. But I did put on the same shirt. I didn't put it in the dirty clothes because I was trying to be like sneaky, but it didn't work out because I was like, wait, my hair's different. So didn't fool anybody. But anyways, this is continuing stats chapter 3, part 3. And we're just going to go ahead and get started. And one of the things that I talked about was, I don't know if I ended up cutting the part that I was already talking, but there's a bunch of stuff for you to consider, like on spending money. And I made it easy for students so that they can come up, like, so that they know like how much they're going to spend. And it's really like, do you want to be on the low end, on the medium end, or on the high end? It's up to you, okay? For example, the first one, home mortgage, which I think is the most important one, or the one that's probably the most expensive for most people. It's very rare to find a spot for just $1,000. Even like a 1-bedroom could be like $2,700. That's what we talked about with some of the students. Most stuff is gonna be above $3,500. We also saw in class that a house in Ventura could cost you about $5,000. But what I want you guys to know is that these numbers are averages in the US, okay? So you could move to another place. I'm not telling you to move. Please don't think that that's what I'm saying. I'm not. I'm just telling you, like, California, expensive. Ventura County, I think, was voted like, or calculated to be the most expensive county in the whole United States. I mean, don't quote me, but that's, we've known it's been an expensive place, Ventura County, but I don't, so a student told me that it was just recently like the most expensive. So yeah, it's expensive. So I just want you guys to be honest with these numbers. Don't write the numbers that I'm writing. That's what I told the students in class. Like, just think about your numbers, and then that way you can see what the total is, and then it can maybe start making you wonder, like, okay, that's how much money I need to earn minimum, at least. And then that's why I tell you guys, go to college. You'll earn more money. Life will be easier for you. Don't come back 5 years from now and say, dang, Mr. Martinez, I wish I would have gone to college. You were right. That lesson, it's so much money. Everything's so expensive. Or I hope maybe everything gets more affordable. I don't know. I can't predict the future. Just know, like, I always thought, like, if we can make the world easier for everybody, people would be less stressed out, and then we would just all be happy. So anyways, back to this. So number 2, actually I haven't even filled in the first one. So I'm gonna say I want to be on the high category. So I want at least $3,500 at least. I could have said 5,000, but I said 3,500. But I could have said 5, but that's just what I chose. Transportation. I know I at least want to be like almost at the high end. This is like a Mercedes-Benz. Payments. This doesn't even include gas and insurance. It's probably even more, but this is on the low end. Maybe you own a car, you already bought it, and you just have to pay for gas and insurance. So $350 if you have like the car paid off and it's just insurance. I'm in the mid range. I actually spend about $1,000 on transportation every single month. That includes gas, insurance, and payments. So I haven't paid off the truck just yet. So I'm just gonna put $1,000. Utilities. I know for sure I spend like $400 or more on utilities, because my phone bill is like $200, my water bill is like $100, my electricity bill is $100, and my gas bill is like $50. So it's really $400. I should have written $450 right here. So you're gonna keep moving to every single one of these, and I'll just go along with you. Groceries, mine's $500. Entertainment, like going out, movies, golf and stuff, go-kart riding. Don't even get me started with like Six Flags, Disneyland. All this stuff gets expensive. You got to have some fun, you know, so go ahead and write a number for that. Healthcare, you guys probably don't spend a lot on healthcare, but if you go see the doctor, you might still have a deductible. Mine's on the low end, probably like 50, but you guys decide what you guys want to do. Personal care, getting haircuts, doing your nails, all that good stuff. I don't know, you decide how much you spend. Children are probably more on the high end, but it just depends, you know, how much you spend and how old the kids are, and just kind of varies, you know. Debt payments, you don't have to have debt if you don't have like credit cards and stuff, but sometimes I still tell students, if you get a credit card that has 0% APR, then just go ahead and, you know, pay it off after, like, if it's, this will be timed like maybe just 12 months, pay it off after 12 months, you know, but, you know, get some debt, you know, that way you guys can get some, you know, credit, you know, build your credit, but pay it off after 12 months, that way you don't have to pay any interest. Miscellaneous, this is just random stuff. Some of you guys buy stuff that, I don't know, you probably shouldn't be buying, including myself. You know, I don't know if there's anything I can think of, but like if you have like the PlayStation membership, just all kinds of memberships, you know. Insurance, I have life insurance. I pay about $50. House insurance, $100. Car insurance was kind of calculated on the other one, so I think just insurance, I think I pay like $150, you know. Pets, I pay about $60 to $100 on Lucy. Love the little kitten. Savings, I do about $700. I tell you, the more you do, the better. Again, these are just averages, so most people are not saving, but that shouldn't be you. Gifts, I do about $250 a month, but you can decide what you want. Taxes, this one is one that I probably shouldn't have added, but because it's really hard to calculate. But if you're earning a lot of money, just put this. If you're earning less, go here. And if you don't think you're going to be earning that much, then just go on the low. These are probably, honestly, like, no joke, these are probably like how much people pay weekly on taxes. So you might want to multiply that times 4. You think I'm kidding, but I'm not. So anyways, that's this part for money. Turn it over. I also tell students that, you know, what we just talked about, that was our operating expenses. You should have a savings too, and you should be planning for retirement. And then, I mean, I heard that it's good to give money to charity, and that it's a secret to wealth in terms of, like, the more you give, the more you get. Something you might want to try it. The more you give, you know, if you keep getting more, then go for it, you know. But I learned that you want to do about like 10% to 25% in retirement, and at least 10% savings. Once this pile reaches a certain amount of cash, you no longer have to like save. This is usually like 6 months of this amount. Okay, so if mine's like, if my operating expenses are, say, like $5,000, 5 times 6, I need to have about $30,000 in my savings. And then once you have $30,000 in your savings, then you can focus more on like your retirement, and your retirement should keep growing every single year, because your retirement, this should be investments. We don't talk about investments in this specific class, but there's a lot of stuff. There's gold, there's stocks, mutual funds, IRAs, all kinds of stuff that just keeps growing every single year. So this money tends to multiply. But we took some notes just to kind of visualize some stuff, and let's go ahead and divide this into 2 spots. Let's just say this is monthly, this is yearly. Now, I could have made these numbers smaller, but I didn't want to. I might have already made them smaller, like, because I don't know if everybody's earning these amounts. Because the totals really are for 10 grand, and 20 grand per month. Okay, so I'm suggesting that if you make 10 grand a month, spend $7,000, but save 1,000, put 1,000 for investing for your retirement, and then give away $1,000. There's nonprofits, there's family members, there's the churches. You decide how you want to spend, how you want to give this away. But remember, I said the more you give, the more you get. Okay, and so hopefully you can follow this pattern. And so if you now double it, give away $2,000. Put in $2,000 for your retirement. Save $2,000, and now you have $14,000 to spend money on. Okay. What does it look like yearly? Well, if you earn 100 grand, if you earn 200 grand, or if, let's just say you're a millionaire. Some of you guys are like, Mr. Martinez, I'm never going to earn this much amount. Look, you got to believe in yourself. I believe in yourself. That's why I'm putting these values, and I'm not putting something small like $2,000, okay? But I probably should have added like a $2,000 one. I might, just so you guys can see what, like, if you earn $2,000, how much should you be putting in? Well, 10% would be $200, $200, and then the rest would be over here, which would be $1,400. That's how much you would spend, and then the rest you would save. So let's go back over here. So if you earn $100,000, that means in a year you're gonna give away $10,000. That means you're gonna save $10,000. That means you're gonna, well, save for your retirement, and then save for your stuff, for your own account. And then this is how much you spend for like everything. Okay. Now, what does this look like if we double it again? Well, now that means you do 20 grand for charity, 20 grand for your retirement, and then 20 grand, I'll just put a K, simplify it, savings. Now, if you're a millionaire, what does that mean? You would give away $100,000. And you put away $100,000 for your retirement, and then another $100,000 for your savings. So I gave you guys these notes. We talked about it. The whole thing about you is like growing and earning more. At the end of the day, I just want you guys to be happy. If it's not money, then that's fine. But these are the numbers. And then we also had a conversation on like, how are you going to prepare for retirement? So how are you going to get, obviously if you're saving 10%, then good. So, but I want you guys to write it out and explain how you guys are going to prepare for retirement. Next page has to do with health. All of these things are things that I think are important, but we're just translating it to percentages. Ironically, I didn't add the vocabulary word till the last day, and I'm also going to teach you guys how to convert from a fraction to a decimal to a percent. So let's get to it. So in this section, part 4, a percent is a number. It's a way of expressing a number as a fraction. So it's both a number and it's a fraction, but it's out of 100. That's the thing that's the most important thing. So 25% means 25 out of 100. Okay? And then these are 16 items that I have for you guys to calculate. And just keep in mind that these numbers are estimates. You must consult with your healthcare physician for exact values. Okay? They're just numbers that I looked up, and I tried my best to make it easy for all of you guys. So just let's go ahead and just jump right into it. So how many hours do you sleep? I actually sleep all 8 hours every single day. I don't know if you can tell. Do I look sleepy? Do I look tired? I don't know. But I've been working since like early this morning. I had an event. We had a grand opening for the grocery outlet down Ventura Road in Pleasant Valley. And then I went home. I went to school, taught, and then after school, I actually then went to another event for a tree planting ceremony that we had. So we had to use a shovel, and now I'm here recording videos. And then after this, I'm gonna post it, but I'm gonna make sure that I get my 8 hours of sleep. So 8 divided by 8, that's actually just 1. And if you want to convert to a percent, you're going to multiply times 100. So multiply by 100. Or you could move decimal 2 spaces to the right. Okay, so if I have a decimal here, I'm going to move it 1, 2, and that pops in 2 zeros, so this is 100%. Now, if you are at 100% or more, I want you to go ahead and put a check mark here. And my check mark should be like that. Yeah, there we go. So check mark. How many cups of water do you drink? You have to have at least 8 cups. I think a cup is, or 2 cups is a water bottle. So this is about 4 water bottles. So let's just say I only drink 3 water bottles. So 3 times 2 would be 6. So 6 cups. Okay, so I have 6 cups of water every single day. I would then have to divide 6 by 8. That gives me 0.75. And if you don't want to believe me, I have my calculator right here. So do 6 divided by 8, 0.75. And then if I want to convert to a percent, either I multiply times 100, or I can just see that decimal place, I can just magically move it from here to there, and then that becomes 75%. Okay, but I did not make the quota. I need to drink more water. So actually I'm thirsty right now. But anyways, how many servings of fruits do you eat each day? That's funny. I need to fix that. So how many servings of fruits do you eat each day? Do you get the point. I have all 5 fruits. As a matter of fact, I think I have a little bit more. I think I have like 6 fruits a day. So this is gonna be 1.2, which is 120%. So I'm definitely gonna get my check mark. All right, now what about vegetables? And again, these are my numbers that I'm writing right now. You should have your own numbers, all right? Like make this for you. Like this is for you, all right? So please do your best to think about it, okay? Now, how many servings of vegetables do you eat? Let's just say I only have 4. So this is 8 divided by, excuse me. The reason I said 8 is because I already know that 4 divided by 5 is 0.8, okay? Sometimes I'm just thinking ahead. And then in terms of percent, that's 80%. So I didn't make the quota. Protein, this is gonna vary from person to person. You don't need 50 grams of protein. You might, I think, but it just depends on like how much you exercise. It's different for everyone. This is why on the nutrition label there is no percent for the protein. But anyways, let's just say I have a lot. Let's just say I have 100 grams. 100 is twice of 50, so that's going to be a 2, believe it or not, and then that's going to be 200%. Okay. Now I already know these in my head. Like these are the numbers that I usually do to teach this lesson. So they're stuck. I have them memorized, but you will need to write your own numbers. Like I don't know how many minutes you do lifting. If it's 12, it's 12. Get a calculator. Just do 12 divided by 15 gives you 0.8. So then just write 0.8, and we already learned that 0.8 is 80%. Yeah, so we got some questions. How much do you run? How much do you stretch? Stretching is super important for me. Like I have to stretch now that I'm an adult. Maybe when you were young, when I was young, I didn't stretch, but now it's super important. So anyways, back to this. How many minutes of reading? You should be doing more than 10 minutes, but I'm just asking, just come on, please, just read 10 minutes. Don't you want to become smarter? Stop reading all the boring stuff, like learn some skills. It's good for you. Meditation, this is something that's new. At least 10 minutes. Spend some time with your friends. Spend some time with your parents. Get to learn them. Learn about them. Ask them questions. How did they meet? What's their earliest memory? What was school like? What was their first job? Ask them all kinds of stuff. Times a day that you brush your teeth. At least two. Come on, you guys, brush your teeth twice, floss twice. And then this one's big for me. It really should be like 300. You gotta say like at least 300 things, nice things to yourself. This is for you daily. And then also say some nice stuff for others. And then see how many of these you checked off and count them. Tell me the total right here. How many boxes did you check off? And what do you need to do differently to be healthier? So that's on you. Figure that out. Have fun with it. Be honest with your answers. If you need help, let me know. But this is pretty much it. We're done with this, with chapter 3 for the stats class. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. Make sure you like the video, subscribe. You want to share, you tell your parents. Maybe this is good for them. Maybe they want to learn. I don't know. I'm not the best teacher, you know, but I do call these packets the best math teacher channel. And the reason I call it that is because I want you to think positive and call yourself the best math teacher, because you're going to dictate how much you're going to learn. Yeah, you can watch this video and you can learn from me, but you're smart enough to know that there's way more YouTube videos out there, and there's books that you can read, and there's people that you can learn from, and technically your entire life is a whole learning experience. So that's why I'm saying you got to be the best teacher for yourself. And so the channel is not called the best math teacher because I'm the best math teacher, unless you think so, which I would be super thankful if you said that. But it's because I want you to talk positive to yourself and you become the best teacher. Okay? So anyways, hope you guys liked the video. Thanks again. See you next time. Bye.